And I am back playing the Border Princes in Total War Warhammer 3, heavily modded with the Cataph's Southern Realms mod being the means by which I am playing the Border Princes. And there being many other mods besides, I'm sure it wouldn't take me too long looking around here. Immediately I see another mod. Wickwithil up here in the Forest of Gloom, which is ordinarily supposed to belong to Greenskins, but instead belongs to Wickwithil, leading the Mask of Loic Wood Elf faction, which is a modded faction introduced by Mixu and his legendary lords. Oh, excuse me. Getting a little bit of the hiccups there. So, we have taken the eastern border princes and we've united them, and we will be pushing into the western border princes to take them. After that, we will likely be looking into what wars we can involve ourselves into for fun and profit and for training for our mercenaries. Actually, once this comes back around to being my turn, I should probably take a look at the Plutocracy mechanic and menu, as I haven't taken a look at that yet. And that is a mechanic I can probably already interact with somewhat. So, the Plutocracy menu, let us see. So, Plutocracy is kind of really the unique racial mechanic of the Southern Realms. It uses the AI, or not the AI, excuse me, the UI, well, it may use the AI, but it uses the UI of the, what was it? Oh, I've somehow forgotten. The Mortuary Cult, that's what it's called, yes, the Mortuary Cult of the Tomb Kings. And there's 5 different little branches here that we can invest in. We'll spend money to get a variety of little bonuses or things, items. Now, immediately here we can see that 2 of the hero types that the Southern Realms have access to are recruited through the Plutocracy menu instead of through the building tree. If we take a look at the building tree in Auchendorf, we can see that from our military buildings, we do get the Master Duelist from the City Barracks building, we get the Mercenary Captain from the Mercenary Hub building, and we get the Priestess of Myrmidia unit from the Myrmidian Academy building. But we do not have a building to hire wizards, because they're recruited through Plutocracy. And the Master Duelist, we can increase his hero capacity through the Plutocracy menu. And what this is basically every 10 or so turns, we just pay out a very sizable lump sum of cash to increase the cap and get the ability to recruit the given hero for a few turns. Which, on one hand, means we get access to recruiting a wizard hero earlier than we ordinarily would. And come to think of it, I did put in that edict to get access to a mercenary captain, so let's go ahead and take that. Let's see. Oleg Hertvig. I kind of like this dude. He's got the whole Bretonnian thing going on with his appearance here. But let's look at the hero abilities. Melee attack plus 8 and plus 35 armor-piercing weapon damage. That's pretty great. Strategist plus 5% campaign movement range. That's solid. Determined. Plus 3 leadership and immune to psychology. We'll take this gentleman. We'll take Olin Hertvig. He drew my eye for a reason. Now, what that we've got our mercenary captain out, let's change it away from levy conscripts to hold fairs for growth. Olin, or Oleg, I don't know why I keep thinking his name is Olin, is going to take a little bit to get moving, but once he does, he is a hybrid hero who has access both to solid melee and ranged options. Not too shabby. He also has Shield Breaker, which is quite nice if you want to run a more ranged-focused Southern Realms army. Now, through Plutocracy, we do have 8,000 gold, so I might want to consider getting a wizard as well. It's better, since it's on a largely cooldown basis, it's probably better to get that cap up earlier rather than later. Now, let's look at the other things we can do in the Plutocracy menu. There are, well, back here, there's still also a Lord type that can be recruited through Plutocracy, the High Eagle. Can only be recruited once every 100 turns, so you're really only going to get one unless you're going for the big domination map painting victory. But nonetheless, you need to get the Myrmidian Fortress, which I believe is the tier 5 version of their religious building, to even recruit one of these guys. If you take Lucini and build the fortified Acropolis landmark there, you can also build a legendary hire a legendary lord. Nearly said something very different. That is Lorenzo Lupo. My brain is currently slowing down. It'll catch back up, though. I just need to keep going. There's a variety of regiments of renown we can build for a small amount of money and a resource of some kind, which encourages you as the Southern Realms to go out and pursue these unique resources. Not just for the trade benefits, but for the unique regiments of renown that you get. We also have, similar to the Mortuary Cult, the ability to build, or purchase, in this case, I believe, a variety of items, ancillaries. And some of them are rather notably joke ancillaries. For instance, we've got here Duke Alberic's look-alike, who increases our diplomatic relations with the Southern Realms and the Empire, and massively decreases our diplomatic relations with Bordello. But, right, there was over here, yes, okay. You can also purchase one instance each of a Griffin mount and a Warbear mount to put on the Merchant Prince Lords. That only matters if you're playing Tylea or the New World Colonies, however, I believe is the case, as Estalia and the Border Princes do not get access to the Merchant Prince Lord type. Estalia instead gets access to the Inquisitor Lord, and the Border Princes get access to the Pathfinder Lord. Now here's the big part of the Plutocracy menu. Strategy. So, strategies are you shell out a little bit of cash, or a lot of cash, for temporary big military or economic boosts. So, each of these represents a pretty big shift to the way you're going to be playing. Southern All-In is pretty well, it's one turn global recruitment duration. Not too shabby, especially because you're going to be spending a lot of time away from home in this campaign. In exchange for losing out on recruit rank, you're going to be recruiting kind of poopier units in exchange for getting them that way. Only the best, increased Lord recruit rank, increased unit recruit rank, but plus 30% recruitment cost. Oh, and plus 50 experience per turn for all units. Very nice. Lease mercenary contracts. This is the weird one to me. This is the funny one. Plus 5% income from all buildings. Minus 50% upkeep on all units. Both of which are very, very nice economic boosts. In exchange for all units in my regions suffer attrition from desertion. And reduce global and local recruitment capacity. So, if your armies are away from home, if they're in foreign lands, or if they're sitting in your cities, garrisoned, they will not take the attrition. But, if you have armies running around in defensive wars, not garrisoned within the cities, but covering for your lands, they'll take attrition. So, this one is a big moneymaker. I'll hold off on it at first, because it's better to wait until you can make some substantial money off of it, but that one is a very good one. We can also spend gold for increased relations with the High Elves, as well as higher research rate, increased relations with the Dwarfs, as well as reduced construction costs. We can pay for better diplomacy with the Empire, better diplomacy with the Bretonnians, better diplomacy with the other Southern Realms and Marienburg, which does matter because I have I believe collaboration between the Skeleton Crew and the Ovian Lost Factions teams. They're Marienburg, which is a very cool mod that I'd like to play on recording sometime. I have not gotten too far into that campaign, but it seems radical. And then you get into the Great Surge. There are only 4 of these, and they're all pretty big changes. They only last for 20 turns, and once the buff passes, you can never use a Great Surge again. And out of them, let's see, we've got Delusions of Grandeur, increased Lord recruit rank, reduced upkeep for cavalry, increased income from all buildings. Pretty nice moneymaker, not quite as good as leasing mercenary contracts, but you don't have to worry about the defensive aspect. It lasts for 20 turns. And plus 10 income from all buildings is very good in the late game. Great Surge patronage trend, increased control, increased research rate, massively reduced construction cost for buildings. Not too shabby. Stiletto politics. Increased hero success chance. Reduced enemy hero action success chance. And plus 5 melee defense for lords and heroes. Not a game changer, but quite nice. And the Great Surge Mercenary Wars. Now, my memory is this one is disgusting. Plus 50% increased income from boast battle loot, plus 50% income from raiding, plus 50% income from sacking settlements. Once you dig in, if you dig into Lustria or the Southlands, or just really any big cluster of settlements of factions that don't like you, there is so much money you can make that way. Okay, now over here, let's see. When we look at these armies, it's not too terribly impressive. There's an ogre army of practically no units camping out in Myrmidons, and Argalis and Savoric both seem to be sitting relatively undefended. Verdanos is under the possession of Gashnag, who is the other Border Prince faction, and we do not have relations with. Speaking of relations, let's go ahead and check. Who's willing to make some deals with us? Wickwithil is willing to make some deals with us. Wickwithil, how do you feel about dwarfs? You're not too keen on them. Let's hold off on making any deals for now, then. I'd rather keep the dwarfs as friends than you. Sorry. Okay, no one's really up and at 'em to make some new deals here, so we'll hold off. I don't have money to burn. Well, I could set up a trade deal with Gashnag. What would he want for it? 300 gold. Sure, not bad. That'll pay itself off only in 6 turns or so, so I'll do that, and that'll set up future relations with Gashnag. May be able to confederate him at some point. Okay, now up here, let's go ahead and make war upon the Bloodmaw faction of Ogre Kingdoms, led by the interestingly named Snaggle the Cheese. Strange. Oh, let's go ahead and get this party started. Now, the city of Zavoric is not going to be a fight. Yeah, a meager garrison of 7 units. It's going to be 3 Noblars, 4 Ogre Bulls. Who cares? Let's auto-resolve it. Barely took any casualties, and all the casualties we did take were pretty well all militia spearmen. So, not too shabby. And we somehow got the Seed of Rebirth, which is... the tooltip is currently bugging out, so let's not look at that. Let's go ahead and occupy. Now, we should go ahead and make sure that we have the ancillaries equipped. Don't want to have them sitting around doing nothing. We have the Potion of Speed on Mr. Gausser, as well as the Seed of Rebirth. Both pretty good. Let's go ahead and give Amelia here the Ring of Ruin. Now, for the skills, let us see here. When do we get access to the unique skills? Rank 10. That makes sense. Let us see. When do I get my first prayer? The Spear of Myrmidia. If we get that, plus 5 armor-piercing weapon damage. You put her in a cluster of infantry, that's going to be quite good. And magical attacks. Not too shabby. Anyways, let us see here. We're going to be investing in the standard yellow line skills. Soothsaying doesn't sound too shabby, but probably I'm going to want to go for Impassioned, so that she can defend herself and stay alive, even in bad situations. While on Mr. Gausser himself, we will continue to invest in the red line. Well, it appears we can either finish up Melee Chapter 2, or invest in Melee Chapter 1 for a balanced increase in stats to our infantry. And our cavalry. Now, these are also, yes, these abilities. These, skills. Frontier Commander. Increased leadership, reduced upkeep and recruitment cost for the Borderlands type units, our Rangers, and our light cavalry. While the Prince reduces recruit cost and upkeep, and increases the melee attack and melee defense for the more noble units of the Border Princes. We'll hold off for now, but those are both cool skills to invest in later. Frontiersman. Only available at rank 8. Increases the upkeep and physical resist of all units rank 4 and above. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. That's quite nice. We'll invest in Melee Chapter 1 right now. And apparently we do get to take we get to take the second point from either of these chapters, so we'll invest in that later. But for now, we'll take the +2 melee attack and melee defense for all melee units. Yeah, it's already showing some nice improvements here. Okay, we got a building upgrade. Let's see, do we want to upgrade Karakangazar or Matorka? Matorka is in the more vulnerable position, so we will upgrade it first and get a garrison running there. Now in Zvorik, what buildings have we got here? Marble. Increased income and marble resource production. Not too shabby, but I'd rather have a garrison, so we'll destroy this building and replace it with a garrison. And Gausser, we will make sure to go ahead and have him recruit units. Let's not waste time here. Let's get some more militia spearmen out. And we will end the turn. Wait, do we still have our hero? Oh, we recruited the hero at the start of the turn. That's right. So that's why he can't be moved. That would make sense. I always forget that there's a pirate just roaming up and down the Black Sea. On one hand, that's annoying because that limits my capability to cross the Black Sea. On the other hand, that is quite nice because it keeps the orcs out of my territory. So, got that going for me. Take a big old sip of water. Gotta keep hydrated. Especially if you're just gonna be sitting here talking to a microphone in front of a computer, like a doofus. Okay, now we get a little bit, let's see, we can upgrade the garrison in Akendorf. Let's see, starts off with 2 half-pikes and a crossbowman, not too terribly impressive, but we pick up a Carlson militia and an extra crossbowman, and the other half-pike gets turned into a billman. So, not too shabby, we'll take that. Over here in Zvorik, we will be investing in a garrison building. 2 militia spearmen and a crossbowman, not great. But better than not having a garrison building of any kind. Now, Mr. Gausser here will be rolling forwards to deal with the folks camping out in Myrmidons. But before we move forward on that, we'll want to stay out of the territory of Gashnag. I don't have a military access agreement with him. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to recruit, let's see, we've already got quite a lot of militia spearmen. Let's grab a couple militia archers. There we go. And we also can finally move Oleg Hertvig. Let's get him on the road to joining up with Gausser. Now, was there anything from the Plutocracy menu I was curious about using? I'm not sitting on that much money, so I perhaps shouldn't let it dominate. Well, some of the strategies are so cheap, though. Yeah, we already have access to iron through the trade agreements with Barak Var. So between Southern All-In, Only the Best, Least Mercenary contracts, there must be a decent one. Least Mercenary contracts, I want to hold off, because that could be so much more profitable if I just wait for my settlements to develop a little bit. And a 20-turn cooldown is pretty substantial. Only the Best in Southern All-In. I'm not going to be recruiting that many, and I'm not that far from home to justify Southern All-In, so I'll hold off on that. I won't let the money burn a hole in my pocket. Oh, there's Snaggle the Cheese down here. We'll have to take a look at him once it rolls the turn back around to me. We've gone down from 350 factions to 330 in a few turns. Pretty nice. 328. That number's just going to keep going down, and I'm going to partake in that. Now, it is kind of funny. This is my first campaign that I'm really playing on the Immortal Empires Expanded mod. Ooh, the Relic Sword. And I wanted, like I've said before on the previous recording, I've wanted to play the Border Princes for a long time. But it is funny for this to be the first campaign I play on the Immortal Empires Expanded map, as the Border Princes are not really in a position to see many of the new regions of the world added by the Immortal Empires Expanded map. Now, we're going to want to try and sneak in here, I'm thinking, because this... the Ogres, right, have terrible garrisons in their capitals, in their province capitals, because the Ogres just aren't very good at building. Well, let's see. Ambushing or not doesn't make a huge difference, so we'll go for ambushing. Are there any good ambush success chance regions here? No, it's just hills. So we will, yeah, move on up here. Ideally sneaking in past Snaggle the Cheese.
Yes, General.
And ideally we won't run into too much beef out here. We'll be able to take Myrmidons without much incident. Katakangazar is ready to be upgraded, so let's get it up, and then it will get a garrison set up. And we will wrap the turn around here. Now, is Snaggle the Cheese going for Vardanos? Where is he going? He's kind of sitting right next to Vardanos, not really doing anything. Has the ambush success chance failed, I wonder? Gausser is still in ambush stance, so it might not have failed. I suppose we shall see. Now, if I take Myrmidons and then move on to... what is the name of the little settlement to the south of Vardanos? Now, my memory's failing me. Whatever it is... if we take Myrmidons and Argalis... there we go, it's Argalis. If we take Myrmidons and Argalis, we're going to have an awkward semi-province here, as we don't have Vardanos, and I don't intend to make war on Gashnog just yet. Now, let's see. This army here... let's have Oleg Hertvig run up and attack Vrud. Sure. Preemptive strike. Critical failure. Wow. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't that. Well, we got a vague idea of some of the units in Vrud's army at the very least. We can tell there's quite a few Ogre Bulls here. If we proceed to attack with Volmar Gausser, it's going to have to be an immediate victory. Just because we are in the possible range for Snaggle the Cheese to come over here and attack. At the same time, Snaggle the Cheese is not moving. He is stuck inside the zone of control of Vardanos. And he may not know the way out of it. So we may actually be able to go ahead and siege this town uninterrupted. I'm curious about that. I kind of want to go for a longer siege just to check. Let's get some siege towers set up, sure, just to check. And we'll quick save just in case I'm wrong. Now, looking at this army here, we've got a lot of Ogre Bulls. Ogres are perhaps not the best in the siege. They have trouble holding walls. And one of the mods I have on is reduced tower range. So, tearing the enemy walls down with my great cannons is not too impossible here. We'll go ahead and start the siege. And I quick saved so I can reload that save in case things go sideways. I am very curious to see if Snaggle here is stuck inside Vardanos. If he is, that's very funny. If he is stuck, I wonder how the AI will react to that. Because whenever the AI has a city, one of their cities under siege, they make sure to divert every possible force to lifting the siege. Let's see. They are sallying forth from the city to attack. Now, looking at this army here, let's see. They do have an army ability. They do have Dismember, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to get to really build that up. So a lot of Noblars and a lot of Ogre Bulls. Not really much else. They do have some Iron Fist Ogre Bulls, but other than that, really what it would be is I would be throwing cannon shots at Mr. Vrud himself here and getting rid of him, as he poses quite a significant threat on his lonesome. The Bulls, it would come down to fights between them and the Malicious Spearmen, really. The Pikemen, I suppose, could come in from the rear and assist with that. But let's see, what would the map look like? If nothing else, I can, of course, auto-resolve this. But I prefer to fight it out, because this does look like a battle that could be fought rather fairly, and I don't want these recordings to consist solely of me auto-resolving a ton. So, let's see, we can have the high ground advantage back here. We can prevent them from flanking us using this cliff wall to protect ourselves. And we can have the light scouts and the freelance knights come around that side to hit them in the rear. Yeah, I think this will work. I'll go ahead and quick save. Alright, let's get in there. We'll have a fight on recording, and then we'll be able to go ahead and cut this recording. I do wonder what the Militia Spearmen's actual efforts on the battlefield will look like. The anti-large will be quite nice, though honestly the Noblars could pose more of a problem to the Militia Spearmen. Ogre Bulls, aside from the fact that they are large and they are monstrous infantry, are not really that impressive of a unit. They only cost, what is it, 500 gold as recruitment cost? Recruitment cost matches the multiplayer cost, and then upkeep is a quarter of recruitment cost, I believe is the formula for that. I could be wrong. Okay, yeah, this cliff here. Oh, yeah, they'd have to fight us uphill. Oh, this is good. This is good stuff. We'll put the Militia Spearmen in a big array right here. And we'll put the pikemen... Let's see. We'll put the pikemen on either flank here. There isn't really a flank, but nonetheless. Put them like so. The cannon, let's see. If we set up like this, yeah, there's no real reason to leave these pikemen here. We'll want them to be put right here, probably. The cannon, we will put on top of the hill, as best we can, where they'll be able to shoot without hitting my own men. Let's see. Yeah, probably not too bad. We're going to have to keep an eye on them, or else they're going to just hit my own dudes. The Rangers will keep back here to lend missile fire, as will the Militia Archers. Can we put... Let's put the cannon further up the hill. Yeah, that sounds right. The Militia Archers we'll put in little square formations right here. That way they can turn better to adjust their aim. Do we want to pull back further into the forest? No, I like our defensive position here. Now, the light scouts we will keep off to the side a little bit, hidden in this forest. And the freelance knights, do we want them to charge the enemy from... Yeah, let's keep them on the flanks out here with the light scouts. And let's push the freelance knights back a little bit so they're into the forest and covered so they get stalk. There we go. Let's put Valmer Gausser and Amelia right here. Oh, they're both on horseback now. So Valmer can probably go with the knights. We'll put him back here. Yeah, Amelia will be right here. She will have charge defense and charge reflect on horseback, will she not? No, she don't. No, she does not. She loses that on horseback, which does make sense. She does still have fireball as a bound spell she can cast. Not too shabby. I might want to, yeah, send her ahead of everybody else so she can cast fireball. That would be a wise idea, I think.
We are Sigmar's heirs.
Are there any other units I've forgotten? There is at least one other unit. Yes, I've forgotten about the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. We'll keep them back here. It's unlikely they'll see much use. I'll deploy them somewhere up to the front line whenever the lines actually meet. Okay, let's get this party started. Let's get rid of those little unit cards that take up so much space on UI. Okay, Fireball. What do we want to cast Fireball on? Let's cast it on some Ogre Bulls, sure. The cannon, let's see. The cannon is able to shoot at somebody. Who do we want to shoot at? Ogre Bulls, sure, why not? Let's turn it in place, and let's get the Militia Archers to pull back a little bit so they're not in the line of fire. There we go. The fireball made contact and did no damage. Very nice. In that case, let's pull her back behind friendly lines. Okay, yeah, lots of ogres. Pikemen, I'm curious. The pikemen, we might end up having them wrap around. Let's see. Are they going to try and flank around with these ogres? Which, I say flank. The AI is rarely smart enough to do that. Is the AI going to get confused by the fact that they're approaching this cliff diagonally and send much of their army around to attack the rear? Just by sheer accident? I'm curious. I think they might actually do that, yeah. Well, in that case, we'll want our militia archers to lend their support from here. Because otherwise it's going to end up just being the knights versus the bulls here. Now, we don't want the light scouts to get involved in this. Okay, yeah, we're forcing them to come around by shooting at them here. Vrud is coming around to fight on his lonesome, though. I have to thank him for that. He's making my life a lot easier in that regard. Okay, now this is going to be a big old puddle, a big old mess of melee here. So let's go ahead and get in there. Let's have the cannons not shoot at my own men, if I can help it. Let's see. We will... Where will we use these gentlemen? For now, let's aim them at these ogre bulls. These pikemen... Let's see. There are Noblar trappers on the flanks here. Let's have the pikemen come around and wrap around for the fight here. Do a little bit of flanking. Let's see here. We're going to cast Killing Blow on Balmer Gausser. Do a bit more damage to Vrud. The light scouts, let's get them somewhere out here. Gausser is taking quite a bit of damage from Vrud. Vrud is focusing on him over the knights, which is not ideal. I'll pull Gausser out. Amelia Immelshieldr will hop on into the melee against these ogre bulls with dual weapons. The light scouts, let's see, where do we want to use you gentlemen? You would probably be pretty good for running down Noblar trappers, which they do have a generous amount of. Let's see. Valmir will have him sit outside the battle until he recharges Killing Blow. Let's see, these pikemen are being slowly attacked by these Noblar trappers. Let's start shooting up these Noblar trappers. I'm getting mildly annoyed by them. Let's see, the ogre bulls have stepped into this fight with the light scouts. The light scouts aren't going to be able to fight them, so let's pull them out. Let's get Valmer into the fight with Vrud. He does have Killing Blow recharged. These light scouts are going to stay out of the fight. Let's pull them out, make sure that they get pulled out and they don't just go back in for their one lone comrade who got stuck in. Let's send these dwarf warriors with great weapons up into the fight. Let's see, the Bugman's Rangers will get shooting at some Noblar trappers, sure. Let's get these light scouts into the melee against these Noblar trappers. Okay, over here, Vrud is dead. Let's get the freelance knights into lance formation. The militia spearmen have held the line remarkably well here, really. We do have militia archers who I forgot to set to guard mode, so as a result, they're pursuing some army, some unit, which is unfortunate. I forgot to set my ranged units to guard formation. That is a wise thing to do that you really should take the care to do. Okay, let's shoot at the ogre bulls here. Now, the cannon, let's see, who is the cannon shooting at? The cannon should shoot at whatever ogres it can actually reach. I don't care about facing a lot of Noblars, but I prefer to kill as many ogres as I can before this battle gets wrapped up. Where are my light scouts? Let's get them out here and running down some ogres. And let's do the same here with the knights. Let's get the knights after these ogre bulls. Gausser and Amelia should be out after some ogre bulls as well. A lot of them have already come pretty close to running off the field. I'm just going to have to live with that. Alright. Pretty good work today, boys. Considering your low stature. Let's go ahead and speed this up. Bless those dwarf warriors with great weapons. They're stubby little legs. They're pumping them. Not for much end, but hey, they're working at it. My knights are doing nothing, but yeah, they're not really going to be able to do much to help here anyways. We pretty definitively won this battle. The only real losses were a decent chunk of the militia spearmen wound up going down to 50% health, but we took a lot more from them than they took from us. So this is definitely a victory. And even if they survive this battle, we'll be able to take the siege pretty easily. So, yeah. Pretty nice little setup here. Good place to wrap this video. I will not wrap the video before the loading screen as much as I would like to, as I do want to get it on recording the little results screen. So we can see here from the jump, let's see. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is, there was a second? Oh, the settlement garrison right is already joined with the army. So, yeah, we wiped out, more or less wiped out 2 units of dual-wielding Ogre Bulls. Vrud himself is dead, he will be replaced, so that one's not a huge victory. But we did a good amount of damage to the Ogre Bulls here, and we also did a good amount of damage to the settlement garrison Ogre Bulls. While our own units, yeah, took very little damage. They recovered most of what damage they did take. The knights, the freelance knights, gained a lot of experience, did a lot of damage, got a lot of kills. Some of the militia spearmen have gone up in stats. The light scouts have gone up. The cannon has gone up. All very nice. Very nice improvements. The freelance knights have proven to be a very quality unit. Which is kind of speaks to the quality of Bretonnian cavalry, really, that the kind of discount version of Bretonnian Knights of the Realm that the Border Princes get. I believe it's discount. Even the slightly downgraded version that the Border Princes get is still really good. Let's see, what was the gold value of the Border Princes damage? 1,400 gold value. Very nice, and they took virtually no damage. Let's see, the pikemen here are going to be less impressive. They just fought Noblar trappers. Valmir did good gold value. He was in a fight with a lord for quite a while. Quite good gold value on the light scouts. Lots on the board on the Bugman's Rangers, which they probably did shoot up a lot of ogres. And a lot of these militia spearmen did very well. 552 gold value from one militia spearman, who I believe costs half that, if not less than half that. And we got 1740 gold. We have wiped out a considerable amount of the ogre units here and did a lot of damage to the units we haven't wiped out. We can get a lot of replenishment. We will take that over the money. And the siege continues. And on that note, once it finishes rolling around to the next turn, I'll be cutting this recording. And I will be very excited to pop this open, play this again. However, it is getting quite late at night, and it occurs to me that I did make a commitment for something I was going to do in the morning. And I would like to follow up on that commitment. Victory over the Ogres, +3 leadership when fighting against Ogre Kingdoms. Not too shabby. And we killed Vrud. Vrud has been replaced by Thrud, who I assume there is some relation. But yeah, before I cut the recording, I'll go ahead and just, let's see, invest our skill points. Let's see, do we want to finish up Chapter 1 and get increased melee attack for our already fairly offensive unit? Greater melee attack for pikes and lances? Sure, yeah, we're Border Princes. We're going to be using a lot of cavalry. And let's see, Amelia Immelschilder has gotten her first prayer, the Spear of Myrmidia. Very nice. And already from the jump, the Freelance Knights are from their veterancy. They're at rank 4. They're already getting +4 leadership, +4 melee attack, +4 melee defense. 38 melee attack on a cavalry unit. Not too shabby. And with our veterancy, our hardened veterans capability, they are going to, by the time they reach rank 9, they will have also got 95 armor, strong vigor. What was that? +8% weapon strength. All very good stuff. And I can increase the amount of leadership they get with the appropriate tech, with expeditionary veterans. Yeah, Southern Realms are very fun just for boosting up units that are already of good quality and making them truly great. Yeah, very excited to come back to this for future parts. So I will see you folks then. Later.